Hey, you're listening to the Heidi Rew Show podcast, where you'll hear compelling stories from female leaders, creators, and innovators. And today's guest is Julie Abes. She is the founder of Batter Cookie Dough, the first cookie dough shop in Atlanta, and her story is so cool. It was so encouraging. Julie spent 25 years as a speech pathologist, and then right as she was about to be an empty nester with her kids heading out, she decided, hey, I'm going to open up a cookie dough shop. Now, Batter is growing to include multiple pop-ups in addition to their location at Ponce City Market, and they dish out 10,000 scoops a month. And she has a little bit of help, too, because her husband has been in the restaurant business for years, David Abes. So I'm so excited to talk to Julie. But in this episode, Julie gives some really great advice on what to do if you find yourself wanting to pivot from what you're doing, because that can be a really scary thing, and also just something of like, what do I do? And so I wanted to share some additional advice as well that I've just found along the ways, because there has definitely been a lot of pivots in my life. One in particular is when I left radio like over 6 years ago. And radio was something that I always thought that just would be my forever career. And so then I wandered into acting, on-camera acting and voiceover, which I had been doing on the side. But even throughout that process, I think I still was trying to really find my niche and where I really truly belonged. And a few things that helped me along the way. I did not do this all at once, so this may help you if you're kind of at that place. But if you take out a sheet of paper and you write out moments in your life, like think about even as a child, where you felt the most joy, the most satisfied, and the most you. And it doesn't have to be work related at all. Then beside each one, you can try and figure out maybe why you felt that way. And you don't have to totally know why, but just jot down a few ideas that you have. Now, look over your list and see if there's anything that you could do right now to replicate one of those things. For instance, so for me, one of those things was playing Cinderella in my college musical. I know that sounds so silly, but there are multiple things that I could do right now to replicate that. I could try out for a musical, or my why for that one in particular was because I was able to create this kind of dream world for an audience with a team. So something that I could do right now is I could write an animated musical or improv, which I've done, or just doing what I'm doing right now, which is voiceovers and a little bit of on-camera stuff here and there. But I'm so busy with the voiceover studio and voiceover. And voiceover really allows me to have that kind of creative outlet as well. And if you're looking for a way to make money out of it, your pivot, then look at the sheet and see, okay, what are some needs out there that may not be met that you could fill that align with those things that bring you the joy and satisfaction and feel the most you. So yeah, those are just a little bit of tips, but enough of my talk. Let's talk to Julie Abes. Here she is, and let's just talk about something like delicious cookie dough, shall we? Okay, so Julie, I have to say that thinking about cookie dough, I think for a lot of people will bring up like reminiscings a little bit. I mean, I remember as a kid, my mom would make the big sugar cookie dough every year for Christmas. And it would start off, like she made a huge mistake because she would make the dough ahead of time and she'd just put it in the refrigerator thinking, oh, great, I'll just make the cookies as I need them throughout the season. That was a bad idea with 4 kids, especially me as one of those kids.
Right.
That ball would like keep shrinking and shrink because I kept thinking, she's not going to notice if it's just like a little smaller. But literally by the time it was like this big. And if you can't see my hand, obviously, because it's a podcast, but it's like the size of a golf ball. And she's like, what in the world happened here? I'm like, look, I'm sorry. This is just the best thing about Christmas. And it's true. You know, so many people think that the cookie dough is the best part. better than the actual cookies.
It really is. I mean, that's the best part about baking. Like when you get a craving for it, you just like, I'll just whip it up. And then, you start licking the bowl and the spoon and the mixer handles and like every part of it.
Yes.
I grew up with a mom who baked, so, or like grandmothers too. And, that brownie batter, oh my gosh, you could just your fingers could not get enough of it. So I've always liked that. And I've always had a little bit of sweet tooth. And making cookies with my kids growing up, I'd be like, do we have enough to make a cookie here? Guys,
right.
Stop eating the dough. So, and I know you're not supposed to, but of course everybody has and does.
Yeah.
But it was amazing when it became now a thing to have stores that just sell cookie dough that's then safe to eat. And it was a beautiful marriage in my life.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit because you actually were a speech pathologist, and you were a mom too. So you balanced that plus being a mom for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So what kind of went on in your head and your heart as you were thinking, I kind of want something different?
Yeah, as like life was going on, like speech was great and I love working with little kids. I definitely enjoy them so much. I mean, anytime I see a kid, I just want to squish them. They're so cute and adorable. But like I was sitting on the floor for so many, and I'm not young. I'm not old, but I'm not too young anymore. And like my back is hurting. And like to sit there and go from house to house to house and treat these patients, it just kind of got rote. Like there wasn't much I hadn't seen. So I was just like, gosh, I really love to be creative. And I really wish there was an outlet for that. Like I've always said, if I could just sit and make bows all day and baskets and just like do all the things that I've done volunteering for like elementary school and luncheons and make cute sayings and write advertising or something fun, which is funny because that's what my brother does. But just using my creativity and my hands that I knew would make me happy. So it's just to kind of switch to how can I, do what you're passionate about and do it so it doesn't seem like a job, all those kind of quotes.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So
did you have in your mind specific things that you're like, okay, this could be a good business opportunity? Or were you just kind of feeling, I feel a little restless, I want to change, I just don't know what that is?
Yeah, it was probably more, I don't know what it is. I mean, I did help a friend who did like decor for parties, and I would help her do that. It was exactly, give me a hot glue gun and a bunch of ribbon and glitter, and I am like the happiest. I loved when my kids had school projects. I'm like, what are we gonna make? Like, because they're not as creative, or as artistic as that, and I can't draw a picture whatsoever. But like, I can make something. So I've always been that kind of kid. Like in person, like I made barrettes for my friends when I was 7th grade and sold them, and I needle pointed and cross stitched, and I just could never do enough fun. I had an earring business in college and made, it was the 80s, so like huge rhinestone earrings. In fact, my first job.
I would love to see those.
Yes. Oh my God, I have some. I do.
That's awesome.
My first job was at a bead store in Atlanta where I made necklaces and bracelets, and I would go do birthday parties for kids, and we'd make bracelets, and I mean that's me. That's what I really enjoy doing, just crafty kind of fun things. So I guess I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I didn't know what. And so.
Did you always know that you said that's me? Did you always know that you had that kind of passion inside of you, or did it take a while to kind of figure it out?
No, I think I always knew. I had an aunt who was really crafty. My mom was like, not creative, can't do a thing, couldn't sew on a button. But I was always like, I want to learn how to sew. I want to just create all the time and make things. And again, I was the one who, like, when I had a school project, I was going all out, like paper mache birds. Like, I just wanted to make things, which is, I think I always knew I liked that, but never really knew how to turn that into a job.
Yeah. So it's so interesting because I think that there are some people that it's either fear that holds them back, or it's not knowing really what is that inside of me that really clicks that I'm kind of meant for. You knew that, but was it just like, well, I'm already kind of on this path, so I'll let this be my hobby? Or what do you think held you back from?
I just don't think I knew how to like put that into like a money-making job, like except for like having this friend who did some decor work. So that was really fun. Or my friends will call and be like, give me a cute slogan for this shirt. And I can come up with something like that, or write this poem for me. I literally just wrote 2 songs for my friend who wanted to do a cute little song parody for her daughter's birthday. And I wrote her 2 full songs to like musicals. And she
Yeah.
was like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I've just always been able to do that. But how that came into being a cookie dough business, I don't know. That all kind of merged differently.
Yeah. So what sparked that inspiration then of, wait, I'm going to open batter?
So I had taken my daughter for her 20th birthday to New York, and of course, on the list of things to do was dough. There's a that they opened January of 2017, and this is later in 2017, that summer. And we just happened to have just gotten in. We're walking near NYU, and we see this line, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're filming a movie or something. Look at all these people standing here. And we kind of turned around, and we noticed dough was across the street, and that was the line you had to get to the bouncer in the front of the line who gave you a ticket so they could cross the street, get in the store, because the store is about as big as the studio is, and which is not huge.
No, yeah.
We were like, what? And my daughter's like, oh, we got to get some. I'm like, okay, we're not standing in the 2-hour line right now, but we went back when it was a little less crazy and did get some, of course, and it was really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a thing. Like, you're telling me we can eat cookie dough. It's edible. It's amazing. And my husband's in the restaurant business. He's been in the restaurant business for 30 years, mostly really all in Atlanta. And I'm like, this is going to come. This is going to happen in other cities. Mm-hmm. So that was June of 2017. And I came home. I'm like, Atlanta's going to need one of these. And I think I should do it. Like how fun. Like having a store was always like something appealing. So I was like, if we can have one, and it needs to be in the best place possible, like in Atlanta, like high traffic, great place. And initially we thought, we could put it at the Battery and call it Batter Up and do rookie dough and some really fun. See, that's all my
really
creative.
Great.
See, that's all my creative stuff, just like going. I was like, we could do really fun things and like chocolate chipper. You could do like really.
Oh my gosh, this is brilliant! Wow.
So I was like,
okay.
wow. But there was no small space. Like we don't need a huge space to do the cookie dough. So we started looking, and so Ponce there was a place at Ponce available right where all the desserts are, and we were like, wow, okay, this isn't even going to take much to like build out, because it was already kind of the walls were there. So that's kind of how that became like, okay, this is going to happen. Then I was like, well, who's making it? Like, So, I mean, at home, I was kind of whipping up my own, but I was like, I mean, it's okay. But, and you can find recipes for edible cookie dough on Pinterest or whatever. So I was like, So I played with it a little bit, and it was pretty good. And then I went and tasted all the ones at the grocery store and just, really started doing research.
That sounds like horrible research.
Yeah,
like
tough
that
job.
is like
Tough
really
job.
hard. Julie.
I call myself like the chief tasting officer.
Right.
If I have to taste it all. And then initially we found it was High Road Craft ice cream. We went in and did this whole presentation. I was so nervous because I was like, really, I need a factory to make this. I can't make this in my home. That's not even really legal. So we went to them, and like 2 seconds in the presentation, they're like, oh, we're in. So we were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So that was really good until we really got going and rolling with them so we're kind of backing up. So again, that was June, July, where we decided to do this thing, got them to do it around August, tasted everything, got the space at Ponce City Market, which was perfect, opened November of 2017. So from June, July to August, like till November, that was it. Like open. Like doors open.
From idea to let's do this.
Yeah. And thank goodness my husband's in the restaurant business, because he was like, well, you're going to need a sandwich cooler. And, here's this. But I worked with, High Road too. Like, well, how do I order cups? And what about this? And who do you, there were so many things to think about. But of course, my mind's on like, how would I decorate this place? And what colors do I want? And like, what's the logo going to look like? Like, I want to do the creative stuff.
Same.
So if you've been to my store, like the back is all, I decided I wanted to decorate it all in cookie jars. So that was the most fun I've ever had shopping with my husband.
Oh, I bet.
We were like, let's go to Goodwill and find cookie jars. But like, we would go to every Goodwill we passed anywhere in Atlanta, or like, oh, I was at this garage sale, and this sweet man came next door, and I said I was looking for cookie jars, but he came and brought me his because he doesn't use it. So like just the cool things. And then my friends started buying me them to like congratulate me. And it was so cute, and it really turned into like a thing. And that was really fun. So yeah, we opened, and then as we were going, actually to back up, who makes the cookie dough? I don't even know if that was a question, but High Road was kind of going a different direction, and they had let us know that like they were going to not really focus on the cookie dough anymore. They really were focused on ice cream. So,
and when did that happen?
That happened in April like a year ago exactly.
Oh, wow.
And I was president. Okay, during this time, I'm also president of the PTA because I didn't, of my son's high school, because I wasn't planning on opening my own business.
Right.
And it was like a 2-year term. And so I was like, president of the PTA, trying to get my son to graduate, high school. Like, that's a crazy year, getting him to tour colleges. And like my daughter's still in school. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, what am I doing? Although I knew things would calm once they were not in the home.
Right.
But so I was sitting about to run a PTA meeting, and my husband calls. He's like, okay, we're going to have a new manufacturer. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's our bread and butter, the person who makes it. So I had done I met some guy that week who wanted to meet about a possible collaboration. And he'd call me back about something. And I said, do you happen to know anyone who has a bakery? Like, I really didn't think ice cream was the way to go, because it's not ice cream. It really is a baked thing. And he's like, yeah, there's this wonderful woman who has a bakery in Alpharetta, and she does a mail order cookie business, and her name's Heidi. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I found her online, typed her an email. She calls me back within like a day, probably a few hours. And we sat and talked, and we really clicked. And she's like, come meet me this week. And I met her, and she's like, I love it. Let's do it. Like,
wow.
It was amazing. It was like, oh my gosh, this was just meant to be. And I tell you, her product was like, it one-upped it. Like, she was like, I think we should tweak this, and let's tweak that. And she's a baker, and she's like, oh, and I have emulsions that make this flavoring. And it was like the perfect marriage. It was just amazing. And we have worked together so well, and she is incredible. If you ever need great cookies, Heidi's Heavenly Cookies, and she does all mail order stuff. And it's every cookie she gave me to eat, I was like, oh my gosh, she knows her stuff. And it's good because she has it from the cookie perspective, not like an ice cream perspective. Yeah. And I think she made our product like even better. She definitely did.
Yeah. It's amazing that something that could potentially be devastating actually turned out to be even better than you ever expected.
And life and quotes and things that say like, don't, like the one door shuts and the something opens. But I was like, oh my gosh, I really just was like in the depths of how are we going to keep this going? And she made it like amazingly better. Amazing. And I love that it's also a women-owned business, and it's local. And I can truly say like this is an Atlanta product, women-owned, really women made, but I'll go up there and we'll tweak things and taste things, and it's again hard job.
Yeah.
And we've even like she's messed up part of it. Like she was like, oh, I was trying to make red velvet, but it really turned more into like hot chocolate, and I really love this flavor. And we were like, oh my gosh, hot cocoa. Let's put we started throwing marshmallows in it and tasting it, and I was like, this is a great flavor. So sometimes the mess up is you just never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's fun. We'll constantly be like, what can we do if we took this and this? And like, or like we had a brownie flavor, and it was very rich. And I was like, it's good, but it's so rich. And a lot of women I would see be like, kids could put it away, but women couldn't eat it. So I'm like, what if we made it brookie and threw in the chocolate chip and mix it together? And like what? And that is like now like one of like number 2. Next to chocolate chip, it is the number 2 seller.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool how mistakes can end to
that is really cool. Yeah. And I love too that how quickly everything happened, but I know that it didn't just happen so easily either, that there were some bumps in the road, but that you were able to kind of get over that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy. And I was a lot of times like, I know what I know. Like, saying I can decorate a store. I know how to organize. I'm very organized. But like, just, I don't know, some of the things that I was like, QuickBooks, what? And honestly, I mean, thank goodness I have like a really wonderful comptroller accountant woman who does a lot more of that, because I'm like, taxes? Yeah. Like, or like, I didn't even know really how to run a cash register. So like, I've had to learn a lot. And I'm sometimes amazed, like I literally have to have like in the beginning, like a lot of daily mantra of, I can do this. I am smart. I have a master's degree. I can do this. Like, I know I can learn even in my 40s. I can learn something new. Like, don't be so stuck on, and I think that was the speech thing. it was easy. It's easy to treat a 4-year-old to me. So how, like, I can learn how to do a cash register or, interview, I guess I could always interview someone, but like interview a kid to come work for me. Like what qualities do I need them to have? And just thinking those things through. So
yeah. What's been one of the best pieces of advice that David, your husband, has given you because of his experience in the restaurant industry? What's been one of the best pieces of advice that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I know this, because I would hate to have to learn this the hard way.
I know. Well, some of it kind of was learned the hard way, but like, if something goes wrong, even if it's not your fault, like someone was like, eating it outside and came back and said, there's like a little, I mean, it sounds gross, but it was like a little bug, you know, but they were eating it outside.
Right.
So it wasn't like coming from me. And you can't say like, well, it's not my fault. Like you're sitting outside, it's 80 degrees outside, you know, or 90 degrees. Of course, there's bugs and flies,
Right.
and, you know, could have flown right in. But you just have to say you're sorry and apologize. What can you do? How can you one up it? You know, like you just have to, don't defend it. Just the customer's always right kind of thing, even though you know that. But on the other side, you want to be like, I don't have bugs here. You know, like
Right.
you just want to be like, oh, so sorry. How can I make that up to you? Can I give you let me give you a fresh scoop. Let's, you know, or whatever it is. But, you know, trying to make it right for people.
Yeah.
And, you know, also that they're only at our counter for 5 minutes. I mean, it does not take that long to scoop and go, unless you're getting something more intricate like a milkshake or something that we do. But, you know, to make that experience really great. And I know that. I'm a pretty friendly person, but like being able to tell that to my employees, like, okay, we're going to scoop and smile and we're going to talk to people. They're curious about this. This is a new concept. They don't really know what it is. A lot of them just think it's ice cream. So, you know, just like, how do you make, like, always just make it the best customer experience possible, because they may walk away and be like, wow, that was really good cookie dough. But also like, that was so fun. Even if it was just because they had a nice little conversation with the person that was, you know, working with them. So just make it fun.
And that makes such a difference these days too, because I mean, we can get cookie dough delivered to, you know what I mean?
Right.
We can get our groceries delivered to us. We can get everything delivered to us.
Right.
But you can't replicate that experience.
Right.
In all of that.
Right. I love that it's a unique concept, though. I love watching, like, because Ponce, you do get a lot of tourists, too. So there's going to be someone walking by from, like, Idaho who's never seen edible cookie dough. And they're like, they're walking, they go, oh, what? Is this heaven? Is this what? You know, and I wish I could video that. Like, so I don't never know what's coming. But when they're like, you have to be kidding. And then they're like all in. So I love that.
That's so rewarding.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, that's really fun.
Okay, so Julia, why don't you talk to me a little bit about being, first of all, you're an empty nester now.
Yeah.
Both of your kids, your son's at school this year.
Yep.
This is freshman year.
Freshman
and then
college.
your daughter's about to graduate.
About to graduate college, yep.
So, man, you start a new business. You're an empty nester. That's like two big things in life.
I know.
What do you feel like has been one of the biggest things that you've learned through all of that?
Well, it's good to keep yourself busy, because there's a lot of downtime. You're so used to driving. Well, they not drive now, but, you know, even going with your kid to somewhere, or they keep you occupied. Like, oh, dinner, you know, you have to make dinner for them and lunches for them. And when they're home, like, life revolves around the kids. It really kind of does. Or what their schedule is, or who's where. And, you know, trying to always get their things in order. Oh, yeah, he needs poster board, or, you know, she needs a new shoe for this. Yeah. So, you know, like, life took up a lot of time with your children. It just does. And when that's gone, gosh, it's so strange. It's so quiet, except for the dog. It's really quiet. That kind of yappy little dog. It's really quiet, and I like being around people, and I really don't like being alone. And my husband will work a lot of hours sometimes, and I don't like that. So it's been great to fill my time with something that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Be it, you know, some of that downtime is really nice, but only a little bit for me. So filling that time with something, a new purpose. Your purpose was your children. So you have to have this new purpose, or you're just very empty. And, you know, it's you really do have to find something, not only to fill the time, but something enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that this has helped you and David's relationship as well? Because now you're in the restaurant business.
I know.
So you have a whole new, like, perspective.
Yeah. I think it's pros
work.
and cons.
Okay.
Pros and cons. So, yes, I definitely, like, thank God he's there to, like, give me advice and help me, and, like, help me think things through, and, you know, help with day-to-day kind of some things like, it's really heavy downstairs. Can you bring those cups up for me? But the physical work, too, because it's going to be very physical. I didn't expect that. That's been good. But, like, we've had to learn how to change the way we talk to each other, because he'll be like, you need to hire 5 more people and bring all that cookie dough in, and you need to make sure you're doing this and this and this. And I just want to be like, stop bossing me around.
Yeah,
like, I'm always been used to being like my own boss.
Sure.
And he's not my boss, but I think he knows what I need to do. And he's kind of like telling me, I'm like, can we reword that to, hey, have you thought about doing this? Or let's make a to-do list together. I was like, I don't know. We had to change, like, I've had to tell him a lot, like, you've got to communicate differently to me because it sounds like you're bossing me around and I don't like that.
Right.
That's my job as a wife to boss you around.
Right.
No. So I think it's just the dynamic has changed, but it's been good. It gives us, a lot to think about and talk about and do together. Like, he'll come help me with some catering events, big, large events, and he enjoys it too.
Yeah.
So that's been good, and it's filled, like I said, filled our time together. But that changing of tone, and stuff like that. It's sometimes I'm like, stop telling me what to do.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good for the marriage.
Yeah,
that's not a great thing. But no, it's actually been a really good year. We do enjoy each other. We just celebrated 25 years.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Thanks.
So, Julie, can you give your advice for somebody that's out there that may be facing a big pivot in their life, or maybe they were like you and just thinking, okay, there needs to be some type of change. I have no idea what it is.
Right.
But there needs to be some type of change. What advice would you give to them?
I mean, I think it's back to, like, when we were talking about finding your passion and, like, think about what you did as a kid that you were so passionate about and, like, loved, and it just drove you. Because not all kids are motivated about everything. It might not have been school, but was it, sports or doing that? So, like, find that passion, and maybe it's not a career, but is it a volunteer position? Is it a, or find what makes you tick. And I learned kind of right before I opened the store how much I really love being around people. So I kind of felt like doing speech wasn't really it if I'm sitting on a floor with a 4-year-old all day and they don't talk. That's not being around people. Yeah. So I've always kind of said, ooh, I could be a preschool teacher, because then you're around other coworkers. I did always love that coworker when I was in my early speech years and worked in a hospital and had a lot of coworkers and stuff. So find, for me, it was being creative and being around people. So that just happened to also come into fruition with this cookie dough shop, and I love sweets and like all those things. So but I kind of like think about when you were a kid and what really drove you. So if it was, I really love playing basketball, like go coach, like volunteer coach a basketball team or like a special needs basketball team. Like how cool is that? Like you're getting that in and also getting to do what you love. So kind of finding those things. I think that and then that fills the time, and then it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
As everyone says.
That's great advice. Julie, thank you so much for just sharing your story and what led you to open up Batter. And I know I've been several times. It's one of my favorites. Well, it's my favorite, obviously, cookie dough, but it's my favorite place to get dessert. One of my favorite places to get dessert. Thanks. I absolutely love it. So I hope that everyone else gets to go visit Ponce City or some of the other pop-ups that hopefully will come around Atlanta soon.
You can find it a couple places. You can find it at Avalon at Farm to Ladle, and we'll actually have a pop-up store. But right now you can grab it. You can do their grab and go, as well as Breadwinner and Sandy Springs. And there's a couple places actually around Atlanta or around Georgia that carry it. We have a Warner Robins. There's a place called Snowbiz that carries our cookie dough, and in Augusta there's a place called Sugar Booger that carries our cookie dough. So
wonderful,
great.
And how can people follow along with Batter, like on social media, and find out what's going on?
Yep. So Instagram and Facebook is at Batter Cookie Dough, and dough spelled out DOUGH. Twitter, it's at Batter Cookie DO. They don't let you have that many characters, but you probably see me a lot more on Instagram. It's probably the best thing. And our website is battercookiedoughh.com, so you can find out all about it, find out our flavors and that we have currently, and lots of fun things that we have going on.
And they have gluten-free and vegan options too, just so you know, and it's amazing.
So we always have 12 flavors, couple seasonal ones that rotate. We cater, so if anyone ever wanted to do, their wedding, birthday party, office treats, it's something really new and different, and we're the only one in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, thank you again so much. And thank you for listening. Please follow the show. All the information is down below in the show notes, so you can find it all there. So I won't go over all that. But thank you for joining us for this podcast, and I hope you have an awesome week. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Heidi Rew Show podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch the next one, and make sure you hit that bell. And if you'd like to listen via the podcast platforms, you can find those below. We would love to hear from you. Join in on the conversation on Instagram or Facebook. And I hope this episode encouraged you. Don't stop, get it, get it.